criminal justice system, the people,
pimps, addicts, thieves, bums, winos, girls who can't keep an address, and men who don't care,
are represented by two separate yet equally important groups.
A cop, a flatfoot, a bull, a dick, John Law, you're the fuzz, the heat, you're poison, you're trouble, you're bad news.
These are their stories.
New York City. New York City is going to pay $17.5 million for forcing two women to remove their hijabs in mugshots. They reached a settlement in a lawsuit brought by these two women. They were arrested. And for the booking photo, they were made to remove their hijabs. The financial settlement was filed after we got off the air on Friday. Still needs the approval of a judge. But these two Muslim women said they felt shamed and exposed by the police officers requiring them to take the hijabs off. When they forced me to take off my hijab, I felt as if I were naked. I'm not sure if words can capture how exposed and violated I felt. I'm so proud today to have played a part in getting justice for thousands of New Yorkers. The police department changed their policy not on Friday after this hit, but actually when the lawsuit hit back in 2020. The police department is allowing religious people to be photographed wearing head coverings as long as the coverings are not obstructing their faces.
What do you think about that? Because technically, if you have a criminal, they could say they're religious, right? And then they could take off their hijab or whatever head covering they have and then look like a completely different person in the world. So if you're trying to get a photo of what someone truly looks like in order to, keep them in a database of criminals, would it not make sense then to have them in, with their natural hair or what have you?
Of course it will. Of course it will make sense to have them in their natural hair. I mean, right. I do not get this. I don't mean to be at all callous about religious belief. I think everyone is allowed to believe what they want and worship the way they want and even keep the customs that they feel are so sacred to their religion. However, you are operating in a society. And when you are arrested, and again, it doesn't mean you're guilty. I mean, I do want to, when you say a criminal, I do want to make it clear. There's no, when you're taken in for a booking photo, you do still retain the presumption of innocence, but that doesn't mean that you're allowed to hang on to whatever religious garb there might be that covers a portion of your head that does help identify you. I do not, and I don't mean to, run afoul of the progressives or the libs, or I don't know who, how everybody lines up on this politically, but I'll tell you, I don't think it should be abused, but I most certainly don't think that you retain a religious freedom that includes being able to wear the hijab for the booking photo. I don't mean it to be offensive, and I don't mean it to be difficult, and the whole process should take, less than a minute, but it's part of the way the society operates and law enforcement typically operates. Ms. Clark, who's one of them, was arrested on a violation of an order of protection. And she wept and begged to put her hijab back on back in 2017 when she was arrested. This is all while she was at police headquarters at One Police Plaza in New York. She had the headscarf around her shoulders, according to the complaint. Ms. Aziz, the second woman, was also arrested on a violation of an order of protection, said that she had a similar experience 8 months later when she was arrested in Brooklyn. She sobbed, I should say, as she stood with her back to the wall in full view of approximately 12 male NYPD officers and more than 30 male inmates.
And that's where they made the mistake, because if you're going to take the picture of the person with the hijab and the person without the hijab for whatever camera recognition type of thing, at least you can do it respectfully. And if that means having a Muslim woman that works at the police department take the picture when the hijab is off, then that's what it means. But if it's against their religion to have men look at you without your head covering, then I think you have to be as respectful as possible.
Well, I agree at least that this should be set up in a private area and or a more private area or potentially private area if need be. It sounds to me like there was a quality, and this is what I really don't like, because there's a lot in the process of being brought into a police station and into police custody that's humiliating already. And it sounds to me like there's a level of humiliation here that's almost added on that is loathsome. You know, it gives me a bad feeling. But it's still, in my judgment, something that has to be done, but it should be done in a private area. So I absolutely feel as though it should be done with dignity, if you want to think of it that way. These people have to be given their dignity. I think all of these people who are brought in should be given their dignity. I understand there's some pretty bad hombres who go in through this process. But in any case, that did happen over the weekend, and it's a boatload of money. There have been other instances of this, but this is really this is a huge, huge number. Again, 17.5 million. I think the actual damages were 13 million, and then there's a bunch of sort of add-on stuff.
I think I got it wrong earlier, just to correct myself when I typed it in. I think I put in 27 million, but you said 17 million, right?
Yeah, 17 and a half million. I didn't see what you put in. So,
yeah.
In any case, look, policies are changing, and this is one of those things that will need to get hammered out. But after a judgment like this, obviously the city of New York is going to be doing things differently. As I say, even when the lawsuit was launched, before the actual judgment, they did things differently. So that's the state of that. It happened late Friday when we got off the air. So I just wanted to relate it to you because it strikes me as again, I may be coming down on the wrong side, as I know I'm a law and order lib. I kind of feel when you get into that process, it should be done with dignity, but you should have to take off the hijab because sadly, it covers identifying characteristics, which is the reason they do a mugshot to begin with. Yeah. By the way, and let me just say this about mugshots. I wasn't for Donald Trump getting a mugshot. So that I'm not just some guy haul him in and take a mugshot. I don't know. Mugshots are designed to give police officers, I think, and the authorities, an identifying photo should they need it. You didn't need that for Donald Trump. That's why it didn't make any sense to begin with. But I just wanted to be clear on, mugshots shouldn't be punitive. They should be useful. So anyway, that's the latest on that. It was a pretty story jumped out at me. I'll put it that way. So
The Mark Thompson Show.
There's another story that we want to follow up on. Kim says she has a follow-up, potentially anyway, to that $30 million heist in Los Angeles. This is of cash. Again, this isn't a cyber crime. This is cash taken. And I want. So, is there new information, or there's sort of
there's
everything
a lot of
coming? Yeah, go ahead.
Thoughts swirling around over this. That happened Easter Sunday, where there's a cash facility, a cash storage facility, which we're now learning these things exist around places, and someone they think goes in through the roof, and then gets the money and goes out through the side of the building, and what the new information is. And this is, again, we knew this last week, that residents said they heard this mechanical whirring sound, right? And then some people said that their Wi-Fi didn't work on Easter Sunday. And I guess Wi-Fi jammers are common with crime. People use them all the time to commit crimes like this. But they're saying that whoever pulled this heist had a plan for storing the cash. It had a staggering amount of currency. The weight apparently could have been up to 3.5 tons. So how they got this all out this side of this building in this hole, and how they carried it away, there's a lot of people speculating about this. So, I mean, do we know anything new? We don't know anything new. But they also say, and this is something we were talking about last week and just kind of hypothesizing about, that this would have taken incredible research, tremendous knowledge, and technical skill regarding the circumvention of security systems and surveillance.
So it would be nobody on this show who would be involved.
It would not be anybody. Yeah. Tony maybe could pull it off.
Maybe Tony. Tony, you are the only one who could possibly.
Thanks, Tony.
Yeah.
I did everything right, and they indicted me.
No, definitely not him.
Yeah. But the details that have emerged apparently is one of the owners of a market just right down the street, said the Wi-Fi didn't work on Easter Sunday. So now we're getting more information from residents and business owners in that area that kind of helps piece together exactly what happened and why there are no security footage, why there's not even a still of a still picture of the car, trying to escape. There's nothing.
Wow, that's huge. So yeah, it feels very Ocean's 15 kind of thing.
It totally does. Yeah.
Man.
I wonder how long it took for them to plan all this out. Can you see them in the warehouse, with whiskey in front of them, talking about the plan on the whiteboard?
I mean, that stuff really does happen. And we've just maybe seen an example of it. I did that show, Super Heists. I narrated that show, and this is definitely a super heist. And the one that stuck out at me was one that you're talking about, that they planned this for 18 months. They brought together these super thieves, basically. How it's like a movie. They bring, one guy's a safe cracker, one guy's a demolition expert, one guy's they're all just, they have their areas of specialty.
Yeah.
And
one guy's got the muscles to carry the money. Yeah.
And they and without giving you all the, running through all the specifics again, it involved cutting a hole, getting a tunnel going, all of that stuff, getting into the vault, and they got away with it. And it wasn't until, I want to say, a couple of years later that they were caught. And they were not caught as a result of any evidence that was related to their crime. They were caught because one of them had a girlfriend who got mad at the guy, and she decided to start chirping to the cops. And that's what brought the entire operation down.
You can't trust anybody.
Nope.
Listen to me. I don't want to hear you.
Exactly. Judge Judy gets it. Sometimes you got to keep your mouth shut. But this is a wild one. Maybe we'll never know, but when we do know, it's going to be a pretty sophisticated crew that pulls it off.
Don't you think that some of that money must have been marked in some way?
I mean, again,
can you spend it? How do you get rid of it? What do you do to make sure that you're not tied back to it?
Well, I'll remind you what we found out about this place that we didn't even know existed. This place with all this cash.
The money
This
facility.
is where the cash goes on its way to banks and other places. So that's why it's conceivable that there aren't serial numbers on it. I mean, I don't know. It's interesting. As I say, we're just finding out more. It's super intriguing, which is why it's kind of fun to revisit it. But all right, that is Law and Disorder.
Tune in again next time for more Law and Disorder on the Mark Thompson Show.
All right, that's it. Let's roll. Hey,
Let's be careful out there.
Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell. You'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.